All right, so very warm welcome to everyone. Once again, wish you a very happy Sunday. Warm welcome to everyone who has joined and all the people who are still joining us. Absolutely fantastic to be in your company once again. We have with us the privilege of having Mr. Navin Kumar Jaggi. He is an advocate. So again, before we start, I request everyone to kindly. I know everyone's excited to ask questions and interact with, but I'll request everyone to kindly just keep the mics on mute while we start. So very briefly, I'll just introduce Jaggi sir, and I know that a lot of people already know him. Yet, and I also would want to very humbly submit that if I actually go into the entire introduction of Jaggi sir, then the entire time will be taken up by me. So briefly, only I'll try to come up with important aspects. Rest, I hope so. During the conversation interaction, we can figure out from sir himself, and obviously, I also hope that we'll have.
May I intervene, Mr. Sharma?
Sir, absolutely, sir.
प्रत्यक्ष को प्रमाण किया. They are here not to know about me. I have to deliver. Today, they are the judges. So no, I don't need that. I mean, I don't spend basically time on introducing me because it's their time and they are the judges. They have to determine whether it was worth their while to be listening to me or not. So just say that my wife was the person in charge, law faculty, Delhi University, and I was the most henpecked husband. That's my introduction. Okay.
All right. So as introduced himself, I would say right. Rest of the introduction I'll share on the WhatsApp group for everyone who wants to elaborately read. Now, so I hand over the class to you, sir. Very warm welcome and thank you so much for it.
Law is a noble profession. Law is a very noble profession.
Okay, so I guess there's a little issue with the video right now, but we have very competent people over there who are addressing it. So sir will be joining us very shortly. So should I rather let me just do one thing in the meanwhile? I'll just share my screen till the time sir's video is on. And that means, or maybe let me just read out sir's introduction a little bit, right? So Mr. Navin Kumar Jaggi studied at St. Columbus High School at that time the best school of the country. He majored in economics from Hindu College, University of Delhi. Thereafter, he graduated in law from Campus Law Center and did his master's in law from Law Center 1 Faculty of Law, Delhi University. He is a former law teacher of Delhi University where he taught law of pleadings and conveyancing, law of limitation, arbitration law, labor law, law relating to the seas, and constitutional law. So he is a second generation lawyer and son of Mr. Basant Kumar Jaggi of the landed gentry, who started his law practice in the year 1923 at Rawalpindi, now Islamabad in Pakistan. Before the partition of the subcontinent, he is carrying on the legacy to reach 100 years in 2023. So this is also for Sir's law firm. This is the 100th year of his practice and the legacy and the heritage that he continues. Sir has been practicing as an advocate since July 17, 1972. He is the present CEO of Jaggi and Jaggi International Attorneys at Law, and he's also a life member of the Supreme Court Bar Association. He is the former standing counsel for central government of the Union of India and the Delhi Development Authority. He was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award for Dyslexia by former Honorable Chief Justice, Uttaranchal High Court, Mr. Ashok A. Desai. He is the recipient of the Award for Excellence in the Legal Profession by two former Chief Justices of India, namely Honorable Mr. Justice A. M. Ahmadi and Honorable Mr. Justice Rangnath Mishra. He was re-elected as the Vice President of the Automobile Industry of Upper India, AAUI, which is affiliated, an affiliate of FIA covering 173 countries. Also the international president of Balkanji Bari International. Sir is also a former president of the Lions Club Panchsheel. He rose to be the regional chairman of the International Association of the Lions Club District 321A. He's an associate member of the National Maritime Foundation, life member of the National Geographic Society, life member of the Indian Law Institute, ILI, deemed to be unique. He is also a member of the Bikaner House, the erstwhile legal advisor at Max Muller Bhavan, New Delhi, YMCA, ITDC, Church of the Roman Catholic archdiocese, and there's a lot that is there that is obviously on the platter for us today, and clearly the most highlighting thing which I think I can say about sir is his personality, and that is something that I hope that through this humble initiative that it may be communicated appropriately. He's an excellent wordsman. His words, they're absolutely fantastic. It's just that technology is something that has its own limiting factors, its own challenges, and welcome to the technological challenges of India today. But so it's again absolutely fantastic to see you. And sir, I hand over the class back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshav Sharma. You have the name of Prabhu. Law is a noble profession. This is the concept that I was born with, living with, and inculcated in me. 51 years ago, when I started my practice, the practice of law or advocacy was a totally different phenomenon. Many of your youngsters cannot imagine the distinguished manner, the sophisticated aristocratic manner we behave with. The seniors treated the juniors as part of the family, and after the military armed forces, we had the next highest discipline. Any lawyer one day senior to me, I'd bow before him, and if I were one day senior to him, he would bow before me. There was camaraderie, there was bonhomie, there was filial bonding. It was like one family. We fought inside. We did not fight with fisticuffs. We did not fight with abusive language. We did not fight with vitriolic outbursts. We fought with our words. We fought with our wit. We fought with our repartee. And we argued for 13 days on regular matters. The judges heard us. And what was a great thing, in the words of Lord Denning, my favorite hero, along with Justice Krishna Iyer, somebody asked him a question, my lord, what is it that a judge fears? He said, there's only one thing a judge fears, and that is his judgment being overruled. I added to that over the course of years, and this is what his entire thesis theme was. When the vanquished and the victorious walk out of the court feeling that they've been heard, walking out of the court satisfied, that is what a true judge is. That is what a true judge is. Mr. J.M. Malik, he may not recall me, he was very, very eminent jurist in the course of our younger days. Judges also helped if a lawyer stumped something. On a different footing, different this. That was of a judge. But Lord Denning did not become a judge on his own. He became a judge because of his masterly conduct, his discipline, his punctuality, his virtuosity in the practice of law. All that was inculcated and imbibed in him during his practice. When he rose to be on the bench, all those values were not only visible, they were so blatantly and flagrantly exposed to one and all. Now, this is a subject which is very, very difficult, the art of advocacy. Why it is difficult? Because when I see on the social platforms and when I see on the professional platform LinkedIn, It is pathetically painful to find that every youngster saying that practice of law is a legal industry. It is not an industry. It cannot be an industry. It is something different. Practice of law, advocacy has to be distinct from being a part of the legal system. The 1,68,000 students that the universities are churning out every year, they may be a part of the legal system, but you cannot call them lawyers, or at least not the practicing lawyers. To be a practicing lawyer, you need to acquire certain fundamental attributes. You require certain basic etiquette. You require certain things, certain facets, which are a must. Unless you want to practice, I know this, that judge, I know that judge, I can work my way through. That is not practice. That is not, we are talking on the channel of Mr. Keshav Sharma and Rishabh Garg. They're part of it. Okay. That's not what you're talking. We're talking of the actual practice, the advocacy, which my generation, we become dinosaurs, we seem to be missing. The actual practice of law starts from the first day, when you're trained as an intern to stand before a mirror. Stand before a mirror and see. The most difficult thing is to address. Most difficult thing is to address, and address publicly. And if you are confident and are able to catch their attention, it is more difficult, even more difficult, to have their attention for hours and hours. That is an integral part of the practice of law, which is advocacy. So youngsters who are interns, try doing this. Stand before a full-length mirror. Watch your demeanors. Watch your expressions. Because what your expressions give, the mirror reflects, is what the judge is going to notice. What the other lawyer is going to notice. What your client is going to notice. What the other, your opposite party is going to notice, and what the public is going to notice. What you require is that confidence, the elan to be able to address. No judge is going to browbeat you. No judge is going to take you down the cleaners if you've done your homework. After you had the confidence to be speaking, always be prepared, always be prepared. Don't limit yourself to just one or two judgments. I was at one time concerned with 73 law universities and colleges, and one law college which I fairly responsible for setting up. The present dean one day said he teaches all the students, read all the judgments, read all the judgments. I totally disagreed with him. Totally disagreed with him to the extent that he stopped inviting me to the college, or now the deemed university, which I helped set up. Why? If you only go prepare your case based upon a judicial pronouncement, a judgment, it's very, very easy for the judge to say the facts of the case are distinguished from this. This judgment does not apply here. Where do you stand? But if you've studied your law, studied the totality of the statute that is concerned, and you've done your homework, you earned your law degree, you not purchase it with your parents' money. You earned your law degree, you work your way through, and when you're going to be arguing, if a judge puts a difficult question, or the opposite counsel puts a difficult question, you will be able to. Never go prepared only on the basis of judicial pronouncements. Just a few months back, one student of my younger daughter, intern, couple of my interns were arguing a case. They got stuck. They were stumped. They came to me. And I said, what is your case? They had based their entire case based upon two judgments. And those two judgments, only 3 or 4 paragraphs related to it. But even they were not conclusively covering the aspect of their case. I insisted, I said, take this line. Don't make this the basis of your entire case. Let it be corroborative. Let it be substantiating defense argument. Don't base it. Felt offended. It's very difficult to even, leave alone teach, even to suggest to the present generation. Very difficult. They felt offended. In fact, they took severe umbrage. And next morning when they went there, believe it, exactly what I had said happened. The case was thrown out. And then they come to me. I said, you're beyond redemption. I'm not charging you. I'm giving you my time. I'm only suggesting, I cannot advise you, you're so wise yourself. Don't. Prepare your case in its totality. Just reading the judgments. I have here a very fine gentleman, Gurmeet Singh. Ask him, he'll take out every judgment like this. But ask him a question. Believe me, he's flabbergasted. That's not it. That's not the practice of law. That's not advocacy. Whether we like it or not, in the superior courts, the command of the English language, if not the command, at least a decent comprehension and understanding of the English language is a must. There is no way you can avoid or evade being a successful practicing counsel in the superior court without having at least a minimum decent knowledge. You know, these days, because the number of cases that judges don't have time, the difference of a comma, a semicolon, or a full stop can make a lot of difference. Mrs. Malik, do I have your permission to go back and discuss a case? Mrs. Malik, are you still there with us?
So if I may just intervene. So actually what happens is that sometimes it becomes difficult for people to unmute and answer questions immediately. So I hope that you'll just keep that.
But they're there. I don't want to be addressing 1, 2, 3, just 4 people or 5 people.
No, 30.
30. Oh, very good, excellent. So Mrs. Malik, I take the permission. Of course, you don't have to take the permission from his lordship. You give him the permission. I'll go back to a case. And then I'm going to put a question to all the 30 if they're still there, hearing my verbal outburst discourse. There was a Zamindar of Calcutta. His son was useless in studies. But the Zamindar insisted that his son must go to ultimately Cambridge. It was a fashion those days to become a barrister. So tutors would come to teach him. Now, while he was studying, his gardener's son, the Chaudhry's son, would stand behind the hedges and learn. Watch. He'd take his old papers and everything, take down notes and everything. Result was, whenever the exams happened, the Chaudhry's son would not appear. The gardener's son would go and sit for his exam or write the paper for him. Those were the days of British. Cheating is not limited to post-partition, post-independence. In fact, I sometimes feel that the movie Three Idiots was based on this actual fact. Be that as it may, the boy matriculated, then he did his FA. Those are different systems of education. Matriculation, first inter, FA, BA, 2 years like this. Ultimately landed for Cambridge. The Zamindar knew all the while that his useless son cannot manage anything, and he paid for us to study from this geography also. So the Chowkidar's son was also sent to Cambridge. Now, to cut the story short, this boy kept on helping others. Result was, he became very popular with all of them. And his own results were so good, he was topping everywhere. Now, on the last day of the last exam, he was helping other students and he got late. And when he got late, he slept late, he got up late. Then when suddenly realized getting late, he rushed. And when he rushed, see, my next step, you've got to understand, move this. Don't you know what I'm going to do? You heard this case? No, I'm not going to come from here. He was late, he rushed, he ran. Those days, there were trams. And when he got on the tram, the door closed and he was caught on the, hold me, so I don't fall. He was holding the bar and one window flailing like this. Can you see my posture? Can you see my posture?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Was like this on the bar. Unfortunately for him, his bad luck, right then a few yards ahead was a traveling ticket examiner along with the roads, traffic magistrate. They halted the tram and he said no. And they said, we'll fine you this many pennies. And he said, what's my offense? He says, traveling while standing on the footboard is an offense. You're all youngsters, you've never traveled in a DTC bus, the good old days, the dilapidated kind of buses we traveled in. That was the law even here. Every bus, till the buses have come with the closed doors, you could not travel on the footboard, and it was written, traveling while standing on the footboard is an offense. Now this boy had no money because he's rushing there. He said, okay, sentence or punish till the rising of the court, till I go to the next town. He was crying and weeping. He said, I have an exam, my career will be finished. I cannot afford coming back again another year. My tuition fees, my stay, my academic expenses. And I said, no. Fortunately, when he was going, another student known to him was passing on his question. He said, what is happening? And he said, look, he said, okay, I'll pay your fine. He paid his fine and he went there, took him there. Now his bad luck, they say when it rains, when bad luck rains, it doesn't rain, it pours. Now there he reached, and when he reached the examination hall, it was 38 minutes, 0.39 seconds. The superintendent of the examination hall said, I shall not allow you because you're late by more than half an hour. And the rules clearly stated you could enter the examination hall up to 30 minutes and not beyond that. He cried and he cried. He entreated, he cajoled, he pleaded, but the superintendent did not agree. He said rules are rules. And the result came back. Now that was the last exam. All these youngsters, there was no Pakistan, no India, it was one subcontinent. They're all rich guys studying there, happy that the exams are over. And suddenly when the party was going on, they found this lad missing. So one of them was sent to see. And what do they see? They find him plonked on the bed, like a small child, weeping away. Because he knew his career had been finished. Now this person had already done his law and he was studying for his master's or doctorate. He said, don't worry. When he heard the entire story, he said, don't worry, come. I'll get you the relief. Now he cuts short the matter. The matter comes to court. And this lawyer stands up and he's playing with his hair and looking here. And the judge says, Mr. Counsel, what have you brought here before me? You're wasting the time of the court. This is no case. I give you 2 minutes. I give you a couple of minutes. Please address your argument. Or I'll throw this. or I'll throw out your case. Now, this is for you youngsters. The law, the protocol, the conventions, everything says you cannot ask a judge a question. You cannot ask judge a question. It's a different thing what happens today. So you say, put it like this, Your Lordship, may I be allowed to think aloud? You can't ask a question to the judge. That's the fundamental, the rudiment of practice of law. Every system. So he says, Your Lordship, please allow me to think aloud. He said, all right, but I give you less than a couple of minutes. I said, yes, please. He said, my lord, I'm wondering as to what you're doing. Now the judge was sitting on the dais, podium here like this, chair like this. Then gruffy old, even gruffier than me, browsing like this, like true typical lordship. Just there, yeah. Forgive me, Mr. Gurmeet's alacrity in multitasking is fantastic. It just shows what a poor teacher I am. Over these long period, I could not hear him. So judge said, of course, I'm holding court. I'm sitting and holding court. This lawyer says, no, I cannot say no to your lordship. I said, your lordship may think your lordship is sitting and holding court, but the law does not ordain that. Law does not ordain your sitting. He said, what turns on it? He says, everything, your lordship. He says, brought out, a law dictionary is called a lexicon. He brought out pictorial dictionaries. He brought out Blackson's law lexicon, and he showed his lordship the definition of sitting. The definition of sitting did not match the posture of the judge. Now the judge got little interested. He says, this bad man, this bad counsel, what did he come to? But anyway, he's found me on the back foot. I've not been able to explain or satisfy him or satisfy myself that my posture was that of sitting as ordained or as existing in the social phenomena, social system. So he said, but what turns on it? He says, everything. He says, no, the lordship, what is the charge? The charge is traveling while standing on the footboard. Traveling while standing on the footboard. He said, no, come here, I need your help, come here. And when he was there, can you show my person? Because he jumped on the footboard. He was one arm was holding the fair like I got Mr. Rishabh Dunn's this thing. And the other one was like this flailing this thing. And he said, your lordship, where does it say that I was traveling while standing on the footboard? Where does it say I was traveling while standing on the footboard? And he said he brought out the dictionaries, the law lexicons, and the definition of standing was the way a soldier stands at attention. And it went to pictorial dictionaries, lexicons, went further to explain if he's maimed or crippled with the help of crutches, but the posture. And the definition of sitting that time was because 1904, at that time, Britain was, till the First World War, Britain was a peak of glory. And some dictionaries had gone to state that the way a person sits at the dining table and food is being served, it doesn't look, because the epitome of civilization, decency, etiquette. But we don't consider that. We don't consider. Yes, please. We are not concerned. The question is, he says, the judge said, but you're still traveling dangerously. He said, but where does the law say? Law does not say dangerously. The law is traveling while standing on the footboard. And do you know this person, what he got? According to his result, that time retirement age was 55 years. He said, the lordship, every one of the students are junior to him or lesser in rank and merit to him. The possibility and certainty, the probability, the positivity of him topping the ICS exam in India is far larger than that of any other students. Now he will be 1 year junior to them, and for 55 years or 54 years, he'll be suffering heartburn. He got compensation for that. He got compensation for his academic pursuits, stay in the university, and his other expenses. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just on one word? One word, law practicality. Now you won't find this case anywhere. I put a question to all of you, Mr. Keshav Sharma, just ask them, is anybody willing to raise a hand? Why is this case not there?
So I think Devashish ji wants to say something. Devashish ji,
Why is this case not there?
Devashish ji, do you want to answer this?
Okay. So let it be, I mean, she's saying far too long. The case, the case is not there because the right to be forgotten, which we now practice, and that also haphazardly or half-heartedly in this country, that was available even there. But the right to be forgotten was this time also not only because of the student. The British did not want to look so stupid and so foolish that the servant of Her Majesty's, in 1904 it was King Edward, so it was His Majesty's government, the servant of His Majesty's government had made such a faux pas. This is one thing. Now I relate a similar case. There was a case, a person was fined challan, this is 1972 or 73, 10 rupees by the traffic magistrate.
No, never.
This challan, 10 rupees. Now, we filed a petition under Article 227 of the Constitution of India, where the High Court has the superintendent's jurisdiction, because the writ would not have laid in such a matter. The matter came up before His Lordship, Justice Yogeshwar Dyal. He's left us. This is before he became the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court and Gujarat and Supreme Court. He said, what are you saying? And unfortunately, when he took over as a judge, I was the first case that he had before me. And he was going to dismiss it, but Mr. Y.K. Sabharwal, who later became Chief Justice of India, was a secretary. He said, Your Lordship, the convention is the first case is never dismissed. So he gave me a stay and he let me off. Of course, it was dismissed on the second hearing, but that's it. Now, Justice Yogeshwar Dyal comes from very distinguished lineage, his father, family, all brilliant lawyers. He said, for 10 rupees, you come to the High Court. I said, it's not the question of 10 rupees, Your Lordship. I cited this case. I spoke about this case. He said, bring it out. I said, I can't bring it out. That's the time when I did the research. Because right to be forgotten meant this had to be, the records had to be obliterated. The case that was, this person being fined for, because of on his motorcycle. I pointed out to His Lordship, see the definition of motorcycle. The definition of motorcycle at that time in 1773, or even up to 74, I think, was a motorcycle along with the attached portion, which was used in the Second World War and all. I said, that's not it. Can you believe it? For 10 rupees, I won that case, and then the law was amended to define the motorcycle. Now you say, these are interesting matters. The youngster who come before the court, take up a matter. Genuine. There are so many glaring, blatant, flagrant discrepancies. Take up, catch up. That one case can get to one case can get when my PhD was on Henry VIII laws. I never got finished. I got married. So, that was the end of it. But by the time I've done research, The Indian Parliament had made 511 statutes, and not one of them had passed the scrutiny of the Supreme Court, of the High Court. They said this is required. This is why, as youngsters, you can take out matter statute if you find any discrepancy. That's all based on the interpretation or the statute or the section, not in cohesion with what the preamble of that statute. It's called the nexus test. The why, what, whom element. Why, what, whom element. That's it. Now, the right to be forgotten is a right being practiced by some high courts in fair abundance. This right means, like a person charged under 498A 506, his family and the husband not being bailed out for nearly a year, losing reputation in the family, society, community, professionally, and ultimately being acquitted. Now wants to get remarried. He's been acquitted. The first wife, the vindictive wife, still tracing him, still stalking him, starts writing wherever he's looking for a proposal. Not saying that he's been acquitted. He lost one relation, one offer, one proposal, second, third. Then he went to the court. Said, I'm acquitted. She goes about there. Do not have the right to live. How can I live my life unless the entire records are obliterated? That is what in this case is talking about, the right to be forgotten. Now, in advocacy, it's very, very important how well you dress up. How well you dress up. I have two very fine gentlemen. One is Rishabh Garg, come for this thing, perfectly attired. Black shirt, jeans. Well, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. As a lawyer, you have to be class apart. Be class apart. At one of my functions at the Ashoka Hotel, Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer came, can you believe it, from a formal function. He came attired, dressed in a pair of jeans and blue denims. Before he could be welcome, I put my hand behind his back like a British would do. I ousted him. Mani Shankar, as a minister that time. No. Shashi Tharoor was insulted at Oxbridge. Do you know why? What is Oxbridge? Oxford and Cambridge joint meeting. And when he came there, because he did not know from which side to enter. He came from the wrong side. And he was to be honored. He was shepherded off. That, in today's world, may sound a little difficult, but if we start practicing this, a time will come, all of us will follow you. Because as a lawyer, you are not expected to fight like a lay person. Fight with your words. Fight with your words. You know how Benjamin Disraeli, Winston Churchill, George Bernard Shaw used to argue? Once, Mr. Winston Churchill received 2 passes for a play which was being conducted by George Bernard Shaw. And he sent a note. He said, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm sending you 2 passes, one for you and one for your friend, if you have any. No, there could be nothing more insulting, nothing more provocative, nothing more incisively satirical, ironical, or insulting that anybody will take umbrage. To the Prime Minister of England, the Second World War's best Prime Minister of England, he says, I'm sending you 2 passes, one for you and one for your friend, if you have any. Do you think Mr. Winston Churchill took a latest cigar and put it in his anatomy? No. He smiled and he sent a note. He says, glad you sent me the passes, but I may not be able to come on the opening day because the commitments to the state and the Majesty's government's duties pressed me hard. But I'll try to come on the second day if there's a second show. He insulted, like he says, you're a flop, man. There'll be no second show. That's how you fight. This is how you fight. Nobody teaches you in law university. Nobody teaches you. Yes, this is how you fight. One fine day, I was watching, when I was teaching, this is October 1975. Most of you were not even youngsters, were not even born. October 1975, there are 2 boys, and they had just shifted from Law Center 2 to Law Center 1 Mandirwar. They're fighting. This. I was standing there in the corridor. I still had about 8-10 minutes before my class started. I come out of the staff room after hearing their shouting and loud voices. You do this, do this. And sir, is this. Is this. I said, what's the fight about? He says, I'll come. When I come, I'll come first. And if you come, I won't let you come first. I'll come first and walk this way, and I'll sit on this chair. I said, what's the fight about? The other fellow said, he says, मैं किसी बेवकूफ को नहीं आने दूंगा, मैं ही पहले आऊंगा और मैं ही यहाँ बैठूंगा. I said, that's it. टॉस करो कि मेरे को कैंपा उससे फैंटा कैंपा होती थी. I said, कौन मुझे कैंपा फैंटा पिलाएगा? You started on this. I said, इन्होंने ये कहा कि मैं किसी बेवकूफ को पहले नहीं आने देता और सीट पे नहीं बैठने देता. ये कहा. तो इन्होंने आपको जवाब ये दिया कि मैं तो हमेशा देता हूँ, हर बेवकूफ मतलब हर को देता हूँ. तो उसने भी आपको बेवकूफ कह दिया. लड़ाई किस बात की है? Have I been able to explain? One said, I don't give way to a food. I said, the other one said, but I always do. तो उसने भी आपको फूल क्या दिया ना? I don't hear any response. I don't hear it. Are we discussing with dumbos or what?
No, they are mute.
Huh?
It will take time to unmute and they to speak.
They can, but they're hearing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my biggest failing in life is total lack of technology and very, very severely handicapped on technology. So I seek your forgiveness, please. So he said, I never let a fool come first. The other fellow says, but I always do. So this is reparty. This is the kind of, over the years, when we the superior courts at least. What did Mr. Ram Jethmalani have? Mr. Ram Jethmalani had the wit. He knew the judge is going against me. He'd crack some ridiculously funny, and the entire atmosphere environment in the court would change. Like I remember my L&M guide, Justice Rangarajan, who is not with us anymore. He used to tell the argument, the argument going on, I want more light and less heat. So when you're arguing, more light and heat, enlighten me. Don't make it so hot and suffocating that even the air conditioner is not working. More light, less heat. That's the lawyer's job. I don't know how many of you heard of a gentleman called Mr. Imran Khan. I presume all of you have. None of you could be as sharply intellectual as Mr. Rishabh Garg and Mr. Ranveer Singh. So you would probably, even I'm sure they would have heard of him. Now this is the case I'm talking of. Imran Khan was the cricket captain of Pakistan. And that was what won him popularity. He rose to be the prime minister. I'm not speaking of the time when he was the prime minister. I'm speaking of the time which relates to his career as a cricketer. A case was filed against him. A case was filed against him by Ian Botham and Lamb. Lamb was a two-down batsman, and Ian Botham was a maverick captain of English cricket. Would be in the pub, drinking lager till 4, come next day, hit sixes, or take 5 wickets and knock a century. He was very popular. He was the Maradona of cricket at that time, till Kevin Peterson and the rest followed him. So flint off, knock off everything. They filed a case against Imran Khan. The case was going on. And while the evidence was to be recorded, they give you time earlier. There's not much of a chance like your adjournment after adjournment when the witnesses or a serious status matters to take part in the court. There's another gentleman, another cricket captain of England, Geoffrey Boycott. Geoffrey Boycott was commentating, and he was summoned, got the message, and he went to the court. Cricket is played in England during summer, so he was in a half-sleeve bush and a tie. He landed in the witness box. And do you know what the judge said? Amazing, amazing. It's left a tremendous impact in my life. Enough of it. Why I'm saying this is because the dignity of law, the majesty of law says, at least go in a clean white shirt. Your band should be clean. Your coat should be well ironed. If not, if you can't get the laundry, do it yourself. How does it matter? But go in a presentable state. And this is what the judge said. Mr. Geoffrey Boycott, much as we admire you, hold you in reverence and adulation, much as we would like to accord you present accolades which you already have enough of, much as we acknowledge the fact that you're an ambassador of this great nation, of not only for the game of gentleman cricket, but even otherwise because of your commentating skills. Much as we admire your absolute durosity in not getting out, playing the game of cricket as a gentleman, in an ungentlemanly manner. वो out होते थे तो कहते थे मैं out नहीं हुआ, देखते थे अंपायर की तरफ, out जानते थे out हूँ, नहीं करते थे. That also judge said, much as we acknowledge the fact that your presence here itself is a matter of glory for this legal great institution, legal institution. Now, the autocratic monocrat of the day, may have perambulated the concavity of the sky upon the British Empire, but woe betide should that ever happen to the British judicial system. So Geoffrey Boycott, please be advised, go back and come properly attired. The court takes a recess. Just seen what beautiful words what he said. The autocratic monocrat of the day may have perambulated the concavity of the sky upon the British Empire. But woe betide should that ever happen to the British system.
नहीं क्लास चल रही है.
Woe betide should that ever happen to the British judicial system. Mr. Sir Geoffrey Boycott, please be advised. go back and come properly and retired. The court shall take a short recess. Mr. Keshav Sharma, at this stage, I want to pause anything, right? And I want you to give me the feedback, like how many have understood what I've said. And this is the case. It is reported Ian Botham. It's a reported case. It's a reported case. And Imran Khan won, like 500,000 pounds or something. He got 500,000 pounds.
So, wow. So again, sir, absolutely insightful and very, how do I say, very engaging, very engrossing, for that matter of fact.
I want you to ask your audience, have they, any of them understood?
So please, you only answer. Actually, there are a lot of people pointed out certain things that they wanted to ask in the middle. Some people they. So again, it's a very good time. Everyone, I request you to kindly take your question.
I'm unmuted also.
Anything you want to ask, sir? It's a very
Give me a
time
pause
right now.
also.
And everyone who's been raising their hands and
Great, it'll be great, yeah.
putting in thoughts. आराम से पूछ सकते हो, हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं।
हिंदी में पूछो।
And see again, also what I'll suggest is that chat box is one option which is obviously there, but आप सीधे भी पूछ सकते हो. So Malik ma'am, again ma'am, I'll ask you to kindly unmute yourself. I had to. I'm really very sorry. I had to mute your this thing because I think there was some disturbance. So, sir, in the meanwhile, I'll take up one question which was put to us by Mr. VGK Kinta, sir. He is a senior advocate practicing in Meghalaya High Court.
Yes.
So he had to leave due to some urgent preoccupation which was there. So he asked a question, sir, that should not High Court judges be rotated and transferred outside their home posting to prevent influence by local situations in their knowing or people knowing them, etc., etc.
I perfectly agree with you. And here I'd like to share with you that appointment of judges post 1947 to 1975 was one set of methodology. The other was subsequent to 75, 77, we had the emergency, 77 to 79, we had a turmoil, and then the same regime coming back, which was ousted in 1977. Earlier, the appointment of judges was almost as honest, High Court judges, I'm talking about High Court and Supreme Court judges, was almost as honest and intrinsically pure. You cannot comprehend today the level of purity, honesty, and the elevation of the judges to the High Court and the Supreme Court. Like for instance, you could never become a judge of the High Court or the Supreme Court if you're not a Freemason. And you say, what has that got to do with it? Freemasonry taught you, every institution seems to be deteriorating now, seem to teach you certain things like brotherhood. I mean, if two brothers disagree, they both should leave, or one should leave and the other should. No fighting like this. In 1975, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi lost before Mr. JML Sinha, she realized, she felt the need to have judges who would be pro-Congress or her way of thinking. And that's the time she felt if the judges were inclined, I'm not talking of favoring, but inclined to think along with the present regime that what is the government thinking, then there would be less chaos. Because the country was still developing. We just had 4 years back, we had the 71 war. We had won that massively, but the cost of the war did have its repercussions. on the monetary regime. So she felt that if you appoint judges like this. Now, an integral part of that system, because for years, 82, 84, and 7 during emergency, because Sanjay Gandhi was my class fellow, Mr. Sunil Shastri, Prime Minister Shastri, my class fellows. We had an elite coterie that time, and you can't understand today that what is called the Lutyens zone, that was the elitist class, that snobbish class. We had no idea what the rest of the country was thinking. As a part of that, so I know happened. Judges were they were asked. They were asked, please come and the chief justice will call you. Please stop working from such and such date. They would invite you. The wife would be invited. It was open. Justice J.M. Malik sir will tell you. Mrs. Malik will tell you. I'm talking of this is
Sir,
still
Mr. Malik actually have something to say right now. She's raised her hand. Ma'am, please.
no. So I nobody call like this, but this what do you call emergency on 75. Once is JMS, this thing started. And I was part of it. And when Mrs. Gandhi would go and appear before Mr. J.M.L. Sinha, he said nobody will stand up for her. She's an ordinary citizen before. I never sat down. Justice J.M.L. Sinha could do nothing to me. Even Lalit Markan, who's like leaders and political leaders, many of them said, Mola Chaturvedi, the minister will be going there. I never sat. And I never sat, this is a fact. And Justice Sinha would look me in the eye. I would look him back in the eye. I knew he could never hold me for contempt because I'd never purchased my law degree and earned my law degree. I knew where he could hold me for contempt. Yes, please. Yes, ma'am, please.
Malik ma'am, request you to kindly unmute.
She's raised. She wants to speak.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, again, technology is one factor which I believe is challenging for everyone. Malik ma'am, but I again request you to kindly unmute whenever it's possible, and please straight away jump into the conversation.
No, she's raised her hand, so you unmute her now.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, sir, I am asking. So I have the option of only ask to unmute. So I am clicking on that link, but I cannot unmute myself. So, ma'am, request you to kindly unmute and join the conversation. Ma'am, in the meanwhile, sir, I think Mr. Ravi Ranjan.
Okay, I have unmuted myself. Is it okay now? Can I speak now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I want to see Jaggi, sir. Not you. Can I see him?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to see him also, not you.
Keshav is a far more.
Sir,
Yes.
you are epitome of knowledge as well as the art of advocacy. I have really just heard about you, but today I have listened with my own ears. Sir, fantastic. If we get advocates like you, there is nothing will be wrong in the judiciary. No, sir, please keep sitting. You are like my brother. Please sit. Sir, my question and suggestion is, if there is brevity in the judgment orders of the judges and taking care of the punctuations, there can be brevity in the judgment and orders. Long paper, piles of papers, piles of orders. He has been reading and reading and reading, repetition of the same story. What do you suggest in that?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Like in school, what you had taught, what is called pressing. And then you are given a large content of a course and asked to summarize it into a pressing. Yes, because what can be done is once the records of the lower court, like let's say the matter comes before the civil court, then it goes to the ADJ or the district judge, it goes to the High Court, then it goes to the Supreme Court or the Second Appeal.
Piles ban jati. Yes, piles ban jati hai, sir.
It becomes so voluminous that it's impossible to read. And if you see
And
cases,
most of the time it is repetition.
total repeatedly and repetitively part of the contents. That
Yes,
sheer waste
that's.
of time, money, energy, and all this.
You have spoken so well today. Small anecdotes, small examples, precise way. That is the way. Really, I salute. Really, both very good. No, he'll come. Let's other boys speak. Thank you very much.
I'm honored, ma'am. I'm honored, ma'am. I must come and take your blessing and sir's blessings.
That's all. So, where is he, Keshav?
Ma'am, right here, ma'am, right
Now
here.
you can let the other speakers
sir.
speak. Then uncle will come and speak.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so for everyone else, again, I'll very so since I have this opportunity right now, I just want to very briefly put this thought into the platform for everyone, because again, see, this is an absolutely free platform, and whatever is happening, so it is sir and all of our seniors and gurus, they are contributing time. So I request everyone to kindly just look into the meeting chat box. There's a feedback form. Just share your feedback also, so that we may convey to sir also what exactly you feel and how you feel about the class. And obviously, please, you're always invited to discuss it in the chat box and ask sir also directly. So again, now coming back to it, so I think Mr. Ravi had a question. Mr. Uh, Ravi Ranjan, Mr. Ravi Ranjan Kumar, so you had raised your hand. Mr. Kunal, yes, please. So you may ask. Mr. Kunal Ashutosh.
So I have a question. Am I audible?
Yes,
Absolutely, sir.
loud and clear, sir.
Thank you, Jaggi sir, and thank you so much. You have a vast knowledge of this law field, and you enlighten us very well. So I have a question that in these days at our district judiciary, it has been practiced by district judiciary that they follow the High Court and the Supreme Court's order. They don't follow their own districts, and they don't follow their own, their own instinct.
Yeah,
So what's how they can do this, and what's the, how it can be beneficial for the common man? Because they cannot approach the High Court or a Supreme Court directly. So this is.
I am totally in agreement with you. See, what I was talking of is fundamentally appears nonsensical to you, because this is not what you see in the courts every day, and especially the district level, right? I was the 73rd lawyer in the entire High Court when I started my practice. My enrollment number 112. So you imagine in Delhi High Court, there were 111 lawyers before me, one of them my father. So things were very different. Everyone knew, there's no rush, no mad rush. Now it's virtually what is called a hot pot, khichdi. One jumping on the other, no time, nothing. Right? And then the front gate, the outpost of 168,000 lawyers coming every day, every year. They've added to it. That apart, what matters is whenever you're appearing in a court, please ensure that you always submit written arguments. That is your only protection. Only protection. Leave the pleading alone. Prepare your listing and ask the court, I may be permitted to argument. If the decision goes against you, it is fair, then you have no right, no cause of action. But if it's based on unfair, extraneous and irrelevant material, extraneous considerations, you have a right to say, my Lord, this is what I presented. There is this answer, there is this answer. That is one protection. Secondly, when you talk of the district judges not listening to their own high court, I mean, like their own district judgments, they are not bound for that. But they are not a court of record, district court not a court of record. It's only the High Court and the Supreme Court, which are courts of record, whose judgments are binding. If one district judge has passed a judgment on almost same facts and circumstances, and the additional district judge says, no, I don't agree, he's not bound to agree. He can give his reasons, disagree. But the High Court and the Supreme Court, those decisions are binding upon them. But what they may judge may do, if they say the facts are different, he may distinguish the judgments. So that is one when I was talking of never go prepared only on judicial pronouncements, be prepared on facts only. So when the judge says the facts are different, then you have to synchronize, bring the cohesion of the facts to it. Bring the cohesion of the facts. That is very important. Very important. Am I come anywhere near the question that you asked, or I was digressing, or did I not?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for enlightening this, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
But are you, I mean, are satisfied, or you want, I mean, need any further clarification?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Sharma, at this stage, I want to come back to the other question of judges being appointed. I mean,
Yes,
the
sir.
question that was asked, I totally agree when you see when the appointment of judges take place from lawyers, right? They like the possibility of unfairness is far more likely in its likelihood than lesser. So if two lawyers have fought against each other and are not friends, and one of them becomes a judge of that high court, the one who is opposed to him is there's a scant possibility of getting justice before that judge. It would adversely affect his practice. Although I've known lawyers became judges, there was the level of community, leave alone that level to some extent animosity. But they were very fair when they started with it. I know of two judges. I mean, like as lawyers, we are different, but when you stand before them, you're amazing. You bow before them, you say, you touch, I mean, like you say, this is just this. But the possibility is less. I mean, if and so the question that they once appointed, they should be transferred elsewhere where they cannot influence the role or the careers of their adversaries or lawyers who are not in the same thought group. Yes, so somebody else raised a hand.
So absolutely, sir. So Malik ma'am, I think, has something to contribute to this. So it's a very interesting topic, sir, with respect to. But sir, I was just curious to ask that is it not the case, because we also see that High Court judges also keep getting transferred from various to various states.
See, it was not because you have to. I mean, like I am probably not qualified to answer this for the reason because so much has happened in the last 5 years or 10 years, half a decade or a decade, that my generation, Dennis, the pace has been so sweepingly fast that it has overtaken us. I mean, like, so the person of your generation, or maybe 2, 3 years elder to you, would be better qualified because you are the ones experiencing it, right? If I go before a court now, the possibility is being maltreated is maybe lesser for the reason they see an old man coming here, I mean, like this, and then and then they can make out the manner you conduct yourselves. He says, why him like this, I mean, like that sort of thing. But your generation who are facing the difficulties, you are probably better qualified to suggest what should be done.
Sir, डांट खा खा के सीखते सर हम. I am being very honest with you, sir.
बिना शागिर्दी किए उस्ताद नहीं बन सकते. बिना शागिर्दी किए उस्ताद नहीं बन सकते. That's a fact. You need to, if you pamper somebody, you can't do it. And if you ask them a question since I asked them, why are judges called landlords? I mean, judges called lords. Can anybody answer that? Why are judges called lords?
May I?
Oh God, no. That's a wonderful question. Please, everyone.
Yes, why?
So I've heard they're called lords because who better than the judges to decide about our lives after courts? I mean, if suspect or if someone has reached before the judges, they are our almighty, they are our lords to decide whether we shall live freely or we shall be constrained. So after the gods, they are the only gods on earth.
This is Mr. Jatin Khurana.
Okay, it's very good, excellent, excellent. But I just want to share with you, explain to you. Suppose somebody, because of his political background, becomes elevated as a judge, and he gets elevated to the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, he is really a lord in the sense because he has the power after God on earth. He's God on earth. You know, he can give life or take life. He can say to be hanged until death. So he's taking life. Or a person sentenced by the Sessions Court and confirmed by the High Court, they say, okay, to be hanged till death. He lets him off. So judge, the Supreme Court judge at least, and the High Court judge also, are virtually gods on earth. They can take life, they can give life. But that was not my question. My question was, why are they called lords? If you ever get a chance to see our website, and when we speak about it, there's the first line written, my father, this thing, of the landed gentry. Now, please share the screen. And just share the screen. If the screen is readable to you,
Yes, sir.
in 1923, Mr. Navin Kumar Jaggi of the landed gentry set up a legal practice at Rawalpindi, now Islamabad in Pakistan. Landed gentry. Landed gentry is a landlord. Landed gentry, who is a landlord? जिसकी जमीन होती है, एक किराएदार होता है, वैसी होता है, less होता है. Landed gentry, landlord. Got it? Now, the noble profession, who became lawyers? See, when you see on the LinkedIn that law is an industry, no, that's not it. Times have changed. It's become industry. You, without soliciting, you cannot practice. Economic difficulties make you practice, but that is not the practice of law as determined or as ordained by social norm, by society, or the existence of the legal system. Now, what happened in England? We use the word lords, it comes from England. In England, after Oliver Cromwell set up the democratic system, King Charles I was beheaded, and he set up a democracy. Now, when Charles, his son, became a king, he threw over Oliver Cromwell. He had his body come up and it was beheaded and put outside the parliament. The King Charles and the important people felt that who are the people who come into politics? Like Johnson said, politics is the last refuge of scoundrels. Anybody who has no morals, no ethical values, no respect for his fraternity, brotherhood, friendship, for his own personal gain, he would stab even his own nearest friend. That was the concept Johnson or the kings had at that time. He said, let us have two houses. Let people fight elections, the scoundrels fight elections and become. They'll be the commons, the House of Commons, right? And then he says, who will be, because they are idiots, they are wild, they are fighters, they have no academic background, no pursuits. How will they decide cases? When a dispute comes before them, because he's a big gunda, big ruffian, big rogue. He said, we must curtail that. We must have a civilized society. So we'll have two houses. The House of Lords, which was actually the House of Landlords. So the British Parliament has two houses, House of Landlords, the Lords, and the Commons. And nobody could become a member of the House of Lords unless he was absolutely distinguished. Absolutely distinguished. He had contributed in some facet of society. He had not only contributed, he had excelled himself. And that was a system here also, Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha was because all Lok Sabha, all idiots coming in. Uncouth. No, I mean, to control that, if you see all the prior Rajya Sabhas till some years back, everyone was from a distinguished field. I mean, who had distinguished himself in some particular field. But that's also the now some leaders they purchase Rajya Sabha tickets. Rajya Sabha ticket is purchasable by some parties. The purpose is lost. Coming back to Lords, the landlords were the only ones who could practice law. Till you could not hear of any person who came from the economically weaker society to come and become a lawyer, unless he had some background. Because for 6-7 years, you were expected to live from home. You're not expected to earn. Till you are grounded into being a good lawyer. Then the work would come, and then you couldn't charge. You'd come back from the court, hang your account, the client would put whatever, the pouch that we have at the back of our gowns, that is meant for that. And we say law was a noble profession. It meant you are not going to charge money for it. And now see the values that other system inculcated us when we find youngsters writing laws in industry, legal industry. I'm not saying that was right and this is wrong. But at that point of time, only somebody who came from a rich background, affluent background could become a lawyer. Because he was not expected to earn from law and therefore not be corrupt. Therefore not be corrupt. If your sole surviving means is to practice, the possibility or the likelihood of being corrupt, I'm not saying you shall be, is greater. But that's not the object of law. The object of law is thou shalt not ever solicit. I have never gone to a client in all my life. My father never went. Never. Nobody can say I've ever. And when you find youngsters going to markets and saying, अगर आपका चेक डिसऑनर हो गया लाओ हम ऊपर केस लड़ेंगे आपको फ्री करके देंगे. That's the deterioration, no, absolute devastation, absolute corrosion of the legal system. Can you ever expect any justice? Once I was told, lawyer sent a case to Patiala from the High Court, and he told him that go to this chamber. When he entered, before he could enter, somebody came to him. He says, "Kya lao mere ko do? मैं आपका 500 रुपए में काम कर देता हूँ." So that guy said he's going to charge me 5,000. ये 500 रुपए ले रहा है. He said, "All right, कहता बैठ लो, मैं photocopy करा के लाता हूँ." Went and disappeared. Took 500 from him, and then somebody a phone number area. Then somebody rings him up and says कि आपके लेटर बॉक्स के पास आपको ये कागज मिले हैं, अगर आपको चाहिए तो मुझे 5,000 रुपया दीजिए. This happened in Patiala House. That matter is still in court. Now, Imagine somebody doing that. Can he be called an officer of the law? Disgustingly, pathetically, painful. That's not it. The moment you don a black coat, your thinking has to change. You may be any kind of a person, but when you are representing, you have to treat your client like an andata. If you don't treat your client like an andata, because he is the one who's laying the food on your table. Many think, "Arey, ye phasa hua hai." Okay. Jitna marzi se kar lo. That's not practice. That's just not practice. That's not advocacy at all. That's a blur, painstakingly painful blur of the legal profession, of the art of advocacy. That's not it. I'd like to share our on the screen with you for just a couple of things. Thou shalt not get results. Can you see the screen? Is the screen readable?
Yeah.
This is the what we have brought up. Law is a noble profession. Thou shalt not ever solicit. Let the clients come to you. They'll come to you if you earned your law degree. There's no way they will not come to you. They shall. And now I take to you, I vouchsafe that if I ask 1 lakh students, maybe 1 or 2 would know that they're like the doctors have the Hippocratic oath. The lawyers also have an oath. We were given this oath. I don't think any university does it now. That oath. I'll share the screen with you for a little more time. This is the earliest oath. The earliest oath found in the Red Book of the Exchequer. The oath of attorneys in the office of police. You shall do no falsehood, nor consent to any to be done in the office of police of this court, wherein you are admitted an attorney. And if you shall know of any to be done, you shall give knowledge thereof to the Lord Chief Baron or other his brethren, that it may be reformed. You shall delay no man for lucre gain or malice. You shall increase no fee, but you shall be contented with the old fee accustomed. And further, you shall use yourself in the office of attorney, in the said office of police, in this court, according to your best learning and discretion. So help you God. It says once you fix your fee, you can't charge again. But here I mean, like, of course, times have changed. I'm not saying it can be like this, that for every application you charge. But once you've settled your fee, let's all say you can't. Then also there's a prayer. When a lawyer goes to court, this is what he prays. Fourth and the lawyer's prayer. Yeah. So open. Lord, grant that I may be able in argument. Please, I should be able to argue very well. Lord, grant that I may be able in argument, accurate in analysis, strict in study, candid with clients, and honest with adversaries. Fight like Karan. Duryodhan tells Karan, कि ऐसे कर, इसे भाई दोस्त है, मर जाऊंगा तेरे लिए, पर लड़ूंगा क्षत्रिय की तरह, आगे से पीछे से वार नहीं करूंगा. Honest with adversaries. Sit with me at my desk and listen with me to my client's pains. read with me in my library, and stand beside me in court, so that today I shall not, in order to win a point, lose my soul. So what he's saying, Lord, जब भी मैं करूँ मेरे साथ हो, मेरे को help, मेरे को guide करते रहो, that I do everything honestly and everything like this. This is the actual advocacy. This is how you establish yourself. You'll find it difficult once, you'll find it difficult twice. Third time, everything will be. The judge will ask you, Mr. Counsel, Mr. Rishabh Garg, Mr. Gurmeet Singh, may I have your thoughts on this? May I have your opinion on this? That's it. That's the advocacy. That's the advocacy. I may sound a braggart and boastful and self-opinionated, presumptuous, ostentatious. But in my lifetime, I've had not one score, dozen, century, many occasions, by arguing on a point, a difficult word has come interpretation. Many judges asking, let me ask you your opinion, how to interpret this, the grammatical part. Judges will start asking you, that's your strength. And your clients will come. When the client sees, hey, he's a lawyer, judges respect him because he's done his homework. एक होमवर्क ही तो करना है ना केस के लिए, जो अनदाता क्लाइंट आपको पैसा दे रहा, आपको खाना दे रहा, आपके टेबल पे दे रहा, आपके पैसे खाना खा रहे हो, आप गाड़ी ले रहे हो, सब कुछ ले रहे हो, उसके लिए यही तो कर रहे हो, तैयारी होमवर्क ही तो कर रहे हो. The judges will respect you. That is it. I have multifarious experiences. Once I went to Bhiwani. This is during the emergency. Bansi Lal was the chief minister. He was the defense minister that time. Very good friend. Surinder was his son. Was a very aggressive, big fighter. Like it was said कि रोहतक में या उसमें जहाँ सुरिंदर सिंह आ गया तो उषा वकील का कुछ नजर चेक कर जाते. And I treated Surinder like his only capability was his father's being Mr. Bansi Lal's son. Went to Bhiwani. He thought if contractor case था जिसको बंसी लाल जी ने contract दे रखा है. He came from the other side. It did not take me more than 2-3 minutes. I praised Surinder Singh. इतनी तारीफ की Surinder Singh की, इतनी तारीफ बंसी लाल son. इतनी तारीफ करी, तू भूली क्या क्या तारीफ करी. वो when coming back, the matter जो था, it was got the infection on the coming back or staying at the guest house because of his father's courtesy. भागा वाला है. सर आपने वहाँ कहा क्या था? बड़े भाई बड़े भाई सर वो नहीं करना. बड़े भाई आपने वहाँ कहा क्या था? जिनका भी तारीफ करी थी. इससे आपके जाने के बाद सारे कह रहे हैं हरियाणवी में वो तो तेरी लिद कर गए, तेरे को खत्म वो कर दिया, तेरे को बोलिए आपने क्या किया था वो ठीक है या आप ठीक है. मैं कैसे आप ये तो जानते हो आपके पिताजी का मैं कितना खिदमतगार हूँ, कितने अच्छे रिलेशन हूँ पर्सन है. उनकी बदौलत मेरे को यहाँ गेस्ट हाउस में ठहरा हुआ. मैंने कहा आई वुड लाइक टू पे. वो कहते हैं नहीं पे भी नहीं करने के लिए नहीं करना, मैं दे के जाऊंगा. मतलब गेस्ट हाउस सरकारी ट्रांसपोर्ट एंटाइटल आपकी वजह से, तो मैं आपकी तारीफ के अलावा कुछ करूंगा नहीं. जाते जाते फिर मुझे कहता मुझे सचमुच कान में तो बता दो तारीफ की थी या क्या किया. I had shattered him, abused him. He got lost. He didn't argue the case. This is advocacy. Any of you willing to pay my legal fee of 2.5 lakhs? For the next 2 minutes, I'll explain to you कि मैंने कहा क्या था. और ये Mr. Keshav Sharma ये भी कहेंगे honoris causa gratis. This is advocacy. If you have command your presence of mind, you can change any hostile situation. Any hostile situation. It's just that law teaches you the way. Remember, a lawyer must know everything about everything. You never know किस तरह का case आ जाएगा. That is important. Be prepared. Go with the confidence. Go with the confidence that you're doing justice to your client. तुमने लड़ना थोड़ी है. लड़ने तो ले पर से काला कोट पहने किया था. हमने तो दिमाग से बात करनी है. दिमाग से जीत हासिल करनी है. कोई illegal काम नहीं करना. अगर कोई incongruity is within legality, that's all right. Law gives us that. If there's any loophole in the law, it protects us. You're doing your duty. You're not doing anything illegal. But you'll only get to know the incongruity and the illegality within the legality if you do your homework, if you study. That's it. Now, how much time do we have?
So we've already taken about 2 minutes more of your time.
Maybe not.
And again, sir, as you started off with a very interesting anecdote about that train travel and the bus travel and the value of time. So with respect to that, we're extremely and absolutely grateful to you.
No, I'm grateful to you, because I'm the most henpecked husband. I have 3 beautiful ladies at home, my wife and 2 daughters. वो मुझे कभी बोलने नहीं देती. तो जब मुझे मौका मिलता है ना, तो मैं आप लोगों को मतलब मेरा मौका मिलता है सारी भड़ास आप लोगों को निकालूं. So thank you for giving me 2 minutes extra.
So it's absolutely fantastic. And just one final time, I think I'll just ask. I think Dr. Sai Kumar sir has something to say. Dr. Sai sir.
Yes, Sai Kumar sir will ask a very good questions.
Please, sir.
Abhishek ji, namaskar.
Namaskar. Actually, I was busy in household works. That's why I couldn't ask the questions. Sai Kumar sir will do the needful.
मेरा काम है आपके लिए झाड़ू लगाना, आपका किसको करना है?
Abhishek is also an advocate from Bombay, and Dr. Sai sir is also one of our mentors, very fundamental to this concept of online community classes. And just hoping that. Yes, Abhishek ji, I think आपका mic एक बार म्यूट करके देखेंगे.
Yes, sir.
Is it still there? The echo.
Please, I'm sorry bothering you.
No, it's absolutely fine, sir. And sir, it's again, sir, this is all just a family. This is a humble family that we have. It's our Sunday study group.
Yeah, you're very smart by calling us as a family. You don't pay us anything. No?
Only mention it's a no.
That
There cannot be any doubt. Thou shall not solicit.
I know that is being good advocacy. What was the question, Mr. Sai?
And we're just hoping that some more and more people can actually. The idea behind the entire concept is just to get people to come across to such gems of valuable wisdom that we have amongst us within our society. Yet, so we are actually fundamentally deprived. So how do we understand what exactly is the? So I'll just very humbly ask you, sir. I think maybe the last question for the evening. That so I being myself, being a first generation lawyer, having about 5 years of practice, vis-a-vis Jaggi sir, who is a legacy lawyer who has about 100 years of practice.
No, mine is 51 years.
Would have seen the perspective that would have been, which have been endowed upon you, which are 95 years more. And if I go into multiplication of how many times, so I don't even want to venture into such territory, but yet all that I understand is that it's a wonderful profession. And the only thing that I can do in my personal capacity is just try, at least I get to learn. I know all the people who are here. It's absolutely fantastic, sir, on Sunday, and everyone's here to learn, sir. And the people are very grateful. So we're all very grateful to you for taking your time out.
Before that, I couldn't hear Mr. Sai Kumar's question. He has a right to.
Yes, sir. Dr. Sai, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Sai, sir, please, sir.
He has to unmute from his side.
He has to unmute from his side, yeah.
Sir, actually, Zoom does not permit, sir. And sir, we are also a pro bono initiative. We also don't have very sophisticated.
Okay, but I owe that to him. I couldn't hear his question. Could you hear his question?
I will ensure the conversation, sir. I will ensure the conversation. So
Well,
So with that, so one final time, I just want to mention to everyone that please, since again now everything is right before you, that this is a very pro bono initiative, and all that actually can come across to our gurus is the feedback that our participants can share. I very humbly once again request. I'm sharing the feedback form right now.
I'd like to know past, or it's easier to, mark somebody else. It's more difficult to get marked yourself. So I'd like to see how many marks they give you.
So now, sir, I said.
Honestly, how many marks they give you.
So very humbly, I request everyone to kindly share the feedback. So very, very sincere thanks to you, sir, for taking your time out today. We are
It's
absolutely
been a real pleasure. It's been a real pleasure.
And sir, I thank you on behalf of every single participant who is here, everyone who has been able to ask questions, everyone who has questions, which I know that they have not been able to ask yet. We pray, my Lord, that we may have another opportunity of this engagement with you, wherein we can further discuss the nuances of law.
Now
And
plan an offline program. We'll see how we'll contribute and help you. Let's have an offline so that we can virtual and Vestralex gets on its way, kicking up another major audience. Okay, we'll plan something.
absolutely, that will be fantastic.
And we'll also reward and give prizes to those who can answer my questions. We can have 3 good prizes and 7 consolation prizes like this. Okay. So this is one way you can carry on your good work as a good Samaritan. Thank you very much.
So very, very thank you, sir. Lots and lots of thanks and much gratitude to you on behalf of everyone who has participated. I thank everyone who has participated today. And since this class is also being live streamed to YouTube, so I request everyone who has who has come with us so far to kindly like, share, and subscribe. Share the video as much as possible. Let as many people get to know about the oath of a lawyer. Let people know about what advocacy is, and let people be acquainted and be familiarized with it, sir. So absolutely grateful to you, and very again, thank you so much everyone for participating. And we'll come back to you with your blessings. So I seek your permission to end the class today.
Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So again, thank you everyone for participating. I'm sharing the link for the feedback form. Someone just asked for the class group also. I will share the link for the class group also. I will also share it on the YouTube page also. I will share YouTube video. I will also share all of these things. And again, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. And I hope that you had something good and interesting to learn. Jatinji, you have something to say, please.
Sir, just one quick question. Would we get a recording of the session?
This is being live streamed on YouTube. We'll share. I think we've already shared the link, YouTube link, or you can just search for Vestralex online community classes on law on YouTube. You will find this. So right now itself, or just wait for a second. I will just share the.
As soon as the YouTube live video ends, it automatically gets processed, right? And it's
available. No, it's
already
there. It's already live streaming right now. So Monica, can you please just share the class link again on the
after the live stream?
It's been shared.
As the video stays. If the live stream
it stays.
All right. Wonderful, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for participating. Look forward to seeing everyone in the next class. Please join the WhatsApp group for more class updates. And I request you very humbly, please share the link to your groups. Let people know about it. There are absolutely fantastic people. And Hindi में अगर देसी भाषा में बात करूं यार, ये जो गुरु है हमारे, इनके मौका मिल रहा है बात करने का, सीखने का, उसका make the most of it for everyone, all young law students and young lawyers, my brother colleagues. I request everyone, please just make the most of it, and I'll see you next time. Till then, bye, and absolutely wonderful meeting everyone. Have a nice day. Happy Sunday.
Thank you, Keshav sir. Thank you, Jaggi sir.
Thank you.